We're going to use Word and Excel to learn how to make tables and graphs. This is the example we'll be using of a nice simple table. So let's start with Word. Go to a blank document. I'm going to go ahead and switch it to no spacing. That makes things easier. At the end you can just select all of the document and change it to a different kind of spacing if you would like. Basically now it's single spaced. I also like to hit enter or return a few times. That lets me work within text even though there's nothing really there, and that's much easier than trying to fit something in at the beginning or the end. You can always select and delete extra space that you wouldn't need. So for our example, we're going to go ahead and put in a table. So we're going to insert a table. We need to know the size of the table. So looking back at our example document, we see there are 2 columns and 7 rows. So in Word, the table we insert will have 2 columns and 7 rows. Now we just type our information into the table. If you hit enter, it stays within that cell, and we want to go to the next cell. So I'm just going to hit backspace to make it look like it did, and I'm going to use my left, right, up, and down arrow keys to move through the table. So again, don't hit enter, use a down arrow to move down through this column. Down arrow. So now I'm going to use the right arrow to go to the other column, start back up at the top, and type in the number of people. Remember, use your down arrow, not enter. So now we have our table. The benefit of using Word to make a table is it already comes with all the boundaries. It does make the table fit the entire width, and that's okay, but it doesn't really look as nice because there's a lot of empty space or extra space. So what we can do is select the whole table, and you can see the table tools show up. We're going to go to Layout, and we can alter the width of these columns. So there we have nice evenly spaced columns. They fit the information a little bit better. You can also adjust the way the information appears in each cell with your alignment features. I always like to center stuff. It just has a nice look to it. So the way it was before, it was left aligned, but now we're going to change it to center aligned. So there we have a nice simple table made with Word. If you don't have to make a graph and just need a table, this is the easiest way to do it within Word. We need to make a graph, so we're also going to learn how to make a table from Excel. So we're going to go to our Excel, click on a blank workbook, and we're going to just start typing in the information from the table into the cells. It appears that the information is taking over other cells, but it doesn't. You can see that cell A1 contains that information. If you try to go to cell B1, you can see that there's no information there, even though it looks like there's words. It's just the overlap from A1, so don't worry about that. We're in cell B1, and that's where we need the other title at the top of the column, which was number of people. And so you can see again, it's overlapping, but the cell contains the information and doesn't interfere with the other cells. So now let's type our styles of breakfast. You can use the down arrow or the enter key to move through the columns in Excel. Again, it looks like the information is going into the other cell, but it doesn't. So we have our breakfast preferences. Now let's go in and do the number of people. So now we have all of our information typed into cells in Excel. So let's go ahead and highlight that. And we'd like to make nice borders around the whole table, just like in the Word version we created a moment ago. So we're going to go up to the Border menu, and we're going to select all borders. Now I'm going to copy that table and put it into my Word document. So I go back to my Word document. My cursor's already there waiting for the table. And just click Paste. So this table is actually a little bit narrow. It is formatted to fit some of the information, although a lot of extra lines in the top. So what we're going to do is, again, adjust the widths so that the table looks a little bit nicer. Now these two columns are of different widths, so we're going to adjust them separately. So I'm going to select the first column and see how the table tools show up. I'm going to go to Layout and change the width, try and get that top line or top cell to have just one line. There we go. So that's 1.5 inches. So let's see if that works for the second column. We're now going to adjust its width to 1.5. So that turns out nice. Everything's back down to just one row. You can see the alignment's a little bit different. In the first column, everything's along the left, but in the second column, the numbers are along the right. So you can still highlight the whole table, and notice as soon as you do that, the table tools show up. I'm going to go to my alignment and align it with the center. So it's pretty easy to make the table from either Word or Excel. The benefit of making it with Excel is that we can now create a graph from this information. So, graph from table, let's capitalize that. Okay, so we're going to go back to Excel. Our table's highlighted, or if it isn't, you can go back and highlight that table again. And we will also use the Insert feature. We want to insert a chart, and you could go to a column chart because we want to make a bar graph, or you could just go to Recommended Charts. That's kind of neat because it gives you options. You have a vertical bar graph, that's a horizontal bar graph, then the vertical, or a pie chart. So we're going to pick the vertical bar graph and just click on OK. So that's pretty nice. It already put in all the types of breakfast underneath each column, has the frequency along the left. I think the chart's more about breakfast than number of people, so I'm going to click on that chart title, and I'm just going to start typing breakfast preference. See how that appears up in the formula bar? And as soon as I'm done typing, I hit enter, and it changes the title on the chart. We can do a lot of different things with our bar graph to make it look better. The plus lets you put in chart elements. So let's maybe put axis titles. So the horizontal axis, let's go ahead and call that type of breakfast. And again, I just started typing. It appears in the formula bar, and as soon as I hit enter, it shows up on the graph. So now I'm going to click on the vertical axis title, and again, just start typing, and that's the number of people. And as soon as I'm done typing, I hit enter, and it appears on the chart. You can also change the appearance. We can see a lot of different options up here in the design features. Or you can do it in a custom way, perhaps by just clicking on the bars. Now we can right click. So see, what I did was, there's no tools showing. As soon as I click in the chart, we get design and format tools. If I come down and click on a bar, it highlights all of them, and I should be able to adjust the color from there. So what I'm going to do is right click on this bar. So first I just clicked on it to select it. Now I'm going to right click, and that lets us work on the fill or the outline. So you can go to the fill, change the color maybe. Okay, let's try that. You can also outline those bars. I'm going to change it to that. So it's just up to you. There's a lot of creative things we can do. The main thing was just to be able to make a nice bar graph. So again, I'm going to click in the area of the graph. Now it's selected. I can go to my home menu, copy it, come back to my Word document, and paste it. I can adjust the size by clicking on it, and see that little arrow, that lets me now change the size or style. You can see that you're also able to do the same kind of editing if you wanted to add chart elements, if you wanted to change the style or color of things. Right? So hopefully you're able to work with Word and Excel after using this video. So good luck.